The Golden Heart, a tale of kindness and courage. Once upon a time, in a small village near a dense forest, lived a poor boy named Rohan. He had no wealth, no fancy clothes, and no parents, but he had something more valuable, his kindness. He lived with his grandmother in a tiny hut and worked in the fields to earn a little money for food. Despite his poverty, Rohan always helped others. If he found a hungry dog, he would share his food. If an old man needed help carrying something, Rohan would rush to assist. The villagers liked him, but many laughed at him, saying, "Kindness won't fill your stomach." Rohan didn't mind. He believed that being kind was more important than being rich. One cold evening, as Rohan was walking home from the fields, he saw an old man sitting under a tree. The man looked tired and hungry. Without hesitation, Rohan took out the only piece of bread he had and gave it to the stranger. The man smiled. "You have a golden heart, my boy. I have nothing to give you today, but remember, kindness always finds its way back." Rohan bowed politely and walked home. His grandmother scolded him, saying, "You barely have enough for yourself, yet you give it away." Rohan just smiled. "Grandmother, we can always earn more food, but kindness stays forever." One day, a royal messenger arrived in the village. "The king's daughter is very ill. Whoever finds the golden flower from the forbidden forest will be rewarded with golden land." The villagers whispered among themselves. The forbidden forest was full of wild animals, deep swamps, and dangerous paths. No one dared to go. Rohan thought of his grandmother, who always struggled to make ends meet. He decided to try. "I have nothing to lose," he thought. That night, he packed a small bag with some food and water and set off toward the forest. The forest was darker than Rohan had imagined. Owls hooted, strange rustlings came from the bushes, and the cold wind sent shivers down his spine. As he walked deeper, he saw a little bird trapped in a thorny bush. It chirped in pain. Rohan gently freed it and bandaged its wounded wing using a piece of his own cloth. The bird looked at him gratefully and flew away. Further ahead, Rohan found a thirsty deer stuck in the mud. Using all his strength, he pulled the deer out and gave it some of his water. The deer bowed its head as if thanking him before running off into the trees. Rohan walked for hours, but there was no sign of the golden flower. Just as he was about to lose hope, he heard a deep growl. Turning around, he saw a huge lion standing in his path. Rohan's heart pounded. He knew he couldn't outrun a lion. But instead of fear, he saw something unusual. The lion was limping. Gathering courage, Rohan stepped forward. "You're hurt," he said softly. The lion growled but didn't attack. Rohan knelt down and saw a large thorn stuck in its paw. He carefully pulled it out. The lion roared in relief, then, to Rohan's surprise, it nudged him gently and walked away. As Rohan turned to leave, he saw a golden glow ahead. He ran towards it and found the golden flower blooming in a clearing. He carefully picked it and started his journey back. As Rohan left the forest, he saw the same bird he had helped earlier. It flew ahead of him, leading the way. The deer he had saved stood nearby, and when he felt tired, it allowed him to ride on its back. Finally, the lion appeared and roared, scaring away any wild animals on his path. With their help, Rohan safely reached the village. The people were amazed to see him alive. He rushed to the palace and handed the flower to the royal doctor. Within hours, the princess recovered. The king was overjoyed. "Brave boy, you saved my daughter's life. Tell me, what do you wish for?" Rohan thought for a moment. "I only wish for my grandmother and the poor people of my village to never go hungry." The king smiled. "You have a golden heart. You deserve more than just food." He rewarded Rohan with gold, a beautiful home, and a position in his court. Rohan used his wealth to build schools, hospitals, and food shelters in his village. He never let greed take over his kindness. And so, the poor boy with a golden heart became the richest of all, not just in wealth, but in love and kindness.